Now, today's video is all about solar panel resistance to hail damage.
So really happy with these results. Do we want to go bigger?
I want to go bigger. Oh, man. All right, guys, this is the big one. So this is an 85 millimeter ice ball. We're going to use that cannon to try to smash it clean through this solar module. Whoa!
Holy crap. That was pretty savage.
Okay, that was loud.
Okay.
The smarter way to go solar.
All right, now in today's video, we're at the Renewable Energy Testing Center here in Fremont, California, and this kicks off our extreme testing series. Now, today's video is all about solar panel resistance to hail damage, and we're going to be simulating a number of different hail strikes on this solar module using this hail cannon. We're going to start at smaller sizes, and we're going to work our way up until we reach the breaking point. Now, in today's test, we're using the top residential solar panel, the REC Alpha line, and I want to see exactly how much this can take until it reaches this breaking point. All right, so I'm here with George from REC, and we're getting ready to fire up for the first round of the hail test here. So George, the first round we're going to be doing a 25 millimeter, is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So the 25 millimeter hail ball is it's a 25 millimeter ball which is fired at 28 meters per second, which is about 50 miles an hour. The reason we do that is that's the size, that's the terminal velocity for an object falling through the sky with that mass. So we're going to try 25 millimeter, which is the minimum standard that's required by IEC 61215. So all solar modules have to pass this.
So pretty much just to get in the game, you got to withstand a 25 millimeter, which is about, what, about like a quarter? It's quarter size?
Yeah, it's about an inch. So you don't want that falling on your head, but typically solar modules will pass. They have to pass it to be installed in the United States.
Okay. Now you said about the terminal velocity. So basically, if that size hail is falling just with the force of Earth gravity, that's the maximum speed it's going to hit as it's falling through air, right?
At that size, that shape, and that mass,
okay,
that's as fast as it will go. That's as fast as gravity will pull it through the atmosphere.
Okay, because a lot of people out there have the question, what happens? I put solar panels on my roof, especially they live in places like Texas or Alabama, Oklahoma. They get these hailstorms. They're wondering, well, look, if I got hail, hail damages my roof. The solar panels are up there. Does that mean my system's going to be, damaged as well?
Sometimes they do get damaged. Sometimes they actually survive through pretty significant hail events. We've seen some that have been almost the size, they fit in your hand, like a little baguette or something like that of survival. Bad part is about hail damage is when you get really big hail, you end up getting impact damage, which causes micro cracks in the solar modules. That damage won't show up for a couple of years. But for the most part, if it survives the hail itself, the glass isn't broken, your panels are going to perform fine and meet their warranted power expectation.
Great. All right. Well, let's get ready for round one.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, we just finished our first impact test. See a little bit of moisture here in the center of the solar module. But George, as you said, 25 millimeter hail, that's pretty much bare minimum to get in the game. As we know, the Alpha series is one of the top panels in the US right now, so didn't really have much doubt about the ability to handle the bare minimum test, but what do you think about a 35 millimeter ball?
So there is an actual IEC standard for the 35 millimeter test. I'm pretty sure it's going to pass that. REC is the Alpha series module is very strong. It has 3.2 millimeter front glass. Let's see what happens.
So 35 millimeter, that's what, about the size of a golf ball?
So it's about the size of a golf ball, and that's coming down at 27 meters per second, which is 71 miles an hour, somewhere along that. Again, this is your terminal velocity traveling through the atmosphere for something of that shape, size, and mass. Okay. So we'll see what happens.
So golf ball size hail at the speed that it would hit your roof, it was falling down during a real hailstorm. Let's see how it holds up. Okay, George, well, 35 millimeters. But let's be honest, we pretty much knew this was going to pass as well. You guys have endured this test before. I do see it does seem to be a larger impact moisture area here, but what do you expect?
So yeah, we expect it to pass this this amount, but again, you can't just expect it. You have to test it. You have to prove it, because as my buddy Larry used to say, absence of proof does not mean proof of absence. So what we're doing here is showing that it will survive this, and as you can see, it did survive 35 millimeter hail at 78 miles an hour terminal velocity. So we're pretty excited about that.
Now, one of the things I notice here, though, is that as we increase the size of the hail, we also increase the terminal velocity, right? Because as that larger object is falling through the atmosphere, it's going to achieve a higher terminal velocity under the force of Earth's gravity. So as we get larger, we're also getting faster as far as how we're hitting the solar module.
That's exactly right. The gravity is working. Gravity is doing its job. It's pulling it down faster, and so it's going to hit harder. You got more mass, and you'll hear when you get to see the image, you'll hear exactly how loud this is.
Yeah, just quick teaching moment here, guys. So the reason that terminal velocity increases as you increase in mass and size is because, basically it's the wind resistance that creates the terminal velocity, the friction from the object falling through the atmosphere. Well, the heavier that object is, the larger and heavier that object is, the more it can overcome wind resistance under the force of Earth's gravity. So as we increase in size, George, it means we're going to increase in speed as well. I'm not sure how long this is going to hold up. What's our next test size here?
So I think what we're going to do here is test to 45 millimeter, which 45 millimeters is 45 millimeter hail ball is actually going to be coming through the atmosphere at right about 100 miles an hour. What is important about 45 millimeter hail balls is that typically most manufactured panels will survive 25, a lot will survive 35, but once you get up to 45, that's when you start sorting out the tougher panels. So the panels that have 2 millimeter glass oftentimes end up failing this test. 3.2 millimeter will typically pass. So that's what we're going to prove with this testing.
All right, next up, 45 millimeter hail, which is about the size of a baseball now, I guess, right?
It's a small, tennis ball.
Tennis ball size hail.
Yeah, anyway, it's bigger than something you want hitting you on the head.
All right, here we go. All right. Well, George, we're back here. I got to say, I'm pretty impressed. That was 45 millimeters at about 100 miles per hour. Other than a slightly larger moisture spot here, module looks like it's brand new.
Absolutely. So we've actually lived through that 45 millimeter hail test, and we've proven that we can survive that. If we were doing the standardized testing, we'd be doing that in 11 spots across the module. But this is actually going to be one of your weaker spots, and we've shown that we've actually survived that. So really happy with these results. Do we want to go bigger?
I want to go bigger. But first, I want to understand, how are solar modules built to withstand that kind of an impact? I mean, I'm just, not as an engineer, if I'm just thinking about this common sense, I'm thinking a tennis ball at 100 miles an hour, this is looks like a sheet of glass. Why is there no damage?
So that's a really good question. So you've got a couple of things working for you. One, you've got slight amount of, you can see if you touch that, you've got a slight amount of flex, so you're absorbing some of the energy. With the REC product, is actually a very strong, rigid platform. It's got the back support bars going underneath it. It also has, with the REC, with the HJT technology, we have the advanced interconnect, which actually has a layer of indium tantalum oxide film on the front and the back side of the cells, giving you more strength and flexibility. So that gives you the survivability in high impact situations. So this is not, it's always good news, but it's not a surprise. This is engineered in.
Okay. Well, listen, George, we didn't get dressed up and come out here for nothing. So I want to go ahead and push this thing to the limit. We just did 45. Now, can you think it can take 55?
We'll have to see if it can do 55. It would not surprise me, but again, we've got to go through it. We can't just say, yeah, calculation says we should be able to survive 55 millimeter hail, but let's test it and see what happens.
All right, round 4, here we go. Oh, man. Yep.
a half kinetic energy.
Okay, well,
How?
let's tell the story here. Yeah, well, I think that did it, George. So, 55 millimeters, and as you can see, it looks like we've got the top sheet here, I guess, or the tempered glass that's on top of the solar cells starting to kind of spider web out here. What can you tell us about this? I mean, the module's still physically intact, but you can see there's obviously some damage starting to show here.
There's obviously some damage, and so you can see that you can check out what you always want to do with broken glass. Check out the impact pattern, and so you can see where the impact was. It's very obvious here, but if you're doing other research or looking at where did the panel break from, the origination is always going to be scattered out like that. You can see that the tempered glass did its job. It's all breaking into quarter-inch squares. So if we pull this apart, you can see that all of this has actually broken. And if you listen, you can actually hear the glass as it's starting to break. But anyway, this is classic damage to the solar panel. This is what's going to happen if it hits anywhere on the panel. It's about what we expected.
Now with this though, again, physically the panel is still intact, right? Doesn't seem to have any. In other words, it has not been fully penetrated here. Would the panel still be producing electricity under these conditions?
Absolutely. So the panel is going to produce probably about 90% of what it used to produce without the broken glass, because your PN junctions, all of your connections are still made. What will happen here is you'll get moisture incursion through these breaks in the glass. And when that happens, you'll start to get hot spots, ISO faults, things like that. So it will fail as moisture starts to get into the electrical connections inside. So what's happened here is basically your packaging has failed. So your front side packaging is your glass, your back side packaging is your back sheet. So the back side's still intact, all the connections are still intact, but your front side glass has failed. It will fail over time.
Okay. But at this point, the solar module is still physically coherent, let's say, still producing some power, but at this point, you're calling for service, you're getting this solar module replaced.
This will, yeah, absolutely. This will show up if you've got monitoring. This is going to show up as a reduced power. You'll probably start seeing ground faults on this within a couple of months. A lot of times you won't see anything on your monitoring for a little while until it actually starts stepping down in power. But yeah, this is something you would definitely want to call out. You want to get this called out as soon as possible just to make sure there's no safety issues with this.
Okay. Well, George, I want to dial it up even further. I mean, we're here. Let's see, what do you think it's going to take to blow a hole clean through this module?
We could go up to, say, 85 millimeters, something like that, and that may actually damage the package all the way. So yeah, let's see what else we can do.
All right, 85 millimeters. That's basically like now softball size hail we're talking about, right?
That's scary big.
All right, well, let's see what it does. All right, guys, this is the big one. So this is an 85 millimeter ice ball. We're going to use that cannon to try to smash it clean through this solar module. Let's see how it holds up.
Holy shit.
Whoa!
Holy crap. That was pretty savage.
Okay, that was loud.
Okay.
That was really loud. Okay, George, I mean, you can see here, obviously you can see where the point of impact was.
Yeah, clearly see that.
But I'm surprised. I mean, it looks like the module still held as far as, it didn't penetrate all the way through.
So what that's going to do, so if there's any silver lining here, what that's going to do is that's going to protect your rooftop from hail damage. So you got one benefit here. Again, not a surprise that we saw this. Interesting piece, you can see right here is where the back support bar is. So it stopped flexing right here. So only this section of the panel really absorbed all that impact. Again, minor thing, but this shows where how the REC panels with the back support bars can actually support more weight or a safer product.
But I guess, I mean, at this point, the solar module is toast. It's not really it's not really producing in any kind of significant way at this point, or would it?
This would be pretty much shorted out is what we expect. It's not going to be producing any energy. You've got your contacts, you got basically your electrical contacts are all shorted out there. And any type of moisture is going to cause that to be a short circuit. So this panel, you may be getting some energy out of this string over here, but I really wouldn't expect it. Let's get this off the rooftop, okay?
I gotta admit, George, I was hoping to see a hole blown straight through this thing, but at least, again, we're talking about extreme testing here. At least your roof is still intact. Softball size hail underneath your roof is still intact. The module needs to be replaced for sure, but again, I mean, we're kind of way above and beyond what the
this is coming in at about 140 miles an hour. So you don't want that hitting on your tile roof or on your asphalt roof. This may end up going actually through your sheathing on your rooftop. So again, not unexpected, and this is what happens when solar modules fail.
All right. Well, folks, this has been our solar panel hail test. Now, this is the first in our series of extreme testing videos that we're going to be doing. In an upcoming video, we're going to be overloading this solar panel with sandbags, basically weighing it down until it fails just because of structural failure, can't hold the weight. But folks, that's what we come out here when we do these videos for you. We want to make sure that you really understand, not all solar panels are created equal. And yes, you can look at price per watt and you can look at things on paper, but when it comes to what is going to be a reliable product long term that I'm going to put on my roof and I can rely on it as a 25-year asset, solar's like anything else. You get what you pay for. George, thanks for coming out and spending some more time with us. Anything else that the audience should know about solar panels, hail impact, hail protection, what have you?
This is really good. So you get to see exactly how we do our hail testing, how we certify that they will survive to these hail sizes, and what it will fail at. They're not going to be last through everything, but they go through they're pretty durable and will go through pretty severe hail. So happy you all had me out here, and
good seeing you again.
Let's go break some stuff.
But folks, there you have it, 150 mile an hour softball size hail. This is what it does to solar panels. I hope you got some good value out of this video. If you did, make sure you hit on that thumbs up button. But until next time, as always, I'm Joe Ordia here, encouraging you to get prepared and be empowered. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.